Today I am making a hussif or a housewife for my sister as a Christmas present. She already knows I'm making it for her because I asked her if she would like one and she said yes. And so some of the fabrics that I'm using have come from her. This is what I've done so far. This is the lining layer. It's a white cotton, a quilter's cotton. And I just realized now by looking at this that I actually sewed all of the pockets onto the wrong side of the quilter's cotton. So the screen printed design is actually on this side. So I have sewed all of this on the other side, which I don't think is a horrible thing because you can still see the pattern. And all of the pockets are flannel, this polka dot flannel, and then underneath the pockets we have different cottons. This one is donuts. All of the fabric pieces besides this sort of orangish red for the top pocket and this piece, which is going to be the outside of the hussif, came from the fabric store that I work at. They were just little like the ends of bolts or little straightening pieces that we cut off that I took home, and now I have them in my scrap basket, and I was able to use some of them on this hussif. So housewives are very good scrap fabric projects. They were used in the 18th and 19th and early 20th centuries by women, but primarily they're known for being used by soldiers and sailors, men who had left their wives to go sailing or fighting and who needed some place to keep things to repair their clothes and uniforms. So where I'm at right now is I have sewed down the linings, the colorful linings of each pocket, and I have sewed down the bottom edge of each pocket. So the next step is to baste the lining onto the outside fabric. And then after that, I have to bind it, and then it will be done. Making a housewife is a very easy project. Willoughby and Rose has a great tutorial, which I will link down there or up above in the corner. And she also has a pattern on her Etsy store. I did not use her pattern. I found a free pattern, which I will also link below, as well as the video that is associated with the pattern that I used. So yeah, I'm gonna baste this together, and then I don't know what I'm going to bind it with yet, but I will do some experimenting. Okay, so I've backstitched the binding onto the inside, and then I folded it over, and starting at the curve, I pinned it down, and now I have to whip stitch it in place, and I have to somehow finish these corners in a way that looks nice, but I'll figure that out when I get to it. So I'm gonna start at the top and then whip stitch down one way and then whip stitch down the other way. This is how Willoughby and Rose does it in their tutorial, which I'm basically following the whole tutorial, so I highly suggest you go check it out. But yeah, I just have to whip stitch this in place, and then I have to get a ribbon, but it's almost done. Okay, so I have officially finished the hussif for my sister. Here it is. It's so cute and little. I haven't put the ribbon on the front yet because my sister has some ribbon at my parents' house that she wants to use. So I'm gonna wait to put that on until I see her next week for actual Christmas. But yeah, this is the outside of it. And then here's the inside. And all of the pockets have the colorful little linings in them. And you can fit things in the pockets like, so here's my little embroidery snips. Those can fit in there. You can put little spools of thread in there also. And then when you have all your stuff in there, it just all gets folded up. And then eventually it'll be tagged with the ribbon. So each of the corners are finished a bit differently and not too neatly. So there's a little bit of visible seamage, but both of them are towards the inside, so that's okay. And then of course the outside is whip stitched down. And it doesn't quite, the top curve doesn't quite sit flat, like it's got a bit of a cave to it, but that's okay, and it works for when it's folded over. So yeah, this is my first completed hussif or housewife for my sister, and it's not perfect. It is far from perfect, but it is done, and believe me when I say that done is better than perfect. So I hoped you enjoyed my video of me making this little sewing kit. I know that it wasn't a tutorial and it was more of a vlog, so it might not have been too helpful, but once again, I highly suggest you go out and watch Willoughby and Rose's video if you want to make your own. Please do, it was so helpful. So I will have that in the description, like I've said so many times before in this video. So I hope you all have very happy holidays, and I hope you did very well on your finals if you recently had finals week like I did. And I hope you all enjoy your winters and your breaks. So stay safe, stay healthy, don't be dumb. And once again, happy holidays! Bye!